Neither WJOU or its licensee, Oakwood University, necessarily share all the views expressed in its programs. They are, however, presented as public information.
Good afternoon and welcome to Second Chance. Second Chance is a weekly talk show that examines a wide range of social issues and seeks to inspire physical, emotional, social, and spiritual healing, believing that God is a God of second chances. And through faith, all things are possible. Second Chance airs live each week from the beautiful campus of Oakwood University and features real people with real issues and offers real answers. And now, here's your host, Kenneth Anderson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson, as always delighted to be here with you in the studio for the broadcast. We air every Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time from the campus of Oakwood University. I might say historic Oakwood University, around for 129 years now. And of course, we are absolutely delighted to be able to have this platform as we have had since November of 1990. To share information and inspiration through the broadcast. As host and producer, I've had the chance to talk to lots of people and experience lots of different conversations that have simply enhanced my ability to navigate through life and through the world. And it is my hope that as you tune in each week, which we don't take for granted, that you too will have a positive experience. I'm often told by people that they're listening. I'm told by others that they are enjoying and appreciating and valuing things that are taking place. I'm told by others that they are appreciative of the information that has helped them learn some things about what's happening in the world as well. And of course, we are on the internet at WJOU.org. So we have people listening all over the world today, and we welcome you to this space in this time. Now, there are some people listening locally at 90.1 FM on the radio, and we appreciate you doing that. But we're going to give you a great option today, because if you have an electronic device like a phone, a laptop, a desktop, a tablet, you can actually get the full experience of this broadcast through the live stream at Facebook or YouTube, Praise 90.1 FM. That's Praise 90.1 FM on YouTube or Facebook. You can get the actual video experience today as we share this time and talk with the guests that we have. I've got some great guests on the broadcast. I promise you an amazing opportunity to engage with people who are doing some meaningful and productive things. But I wanted to start out, as I do sometimes, sharing some information about things that you may need to be aware of and things that you may need to know about, because there are very, very important and interesting things happening. The first thing I want to say is, once again, congratulations to all of those graduates out there. It's still graduation season. We're right in the thick of things. And even though some people, especially in this particular region, graduate in the month of May, there are a lot of graduations that take place in the month of June. And so people will be graduating all throughout this month. And we want to say to them, if you're graduating this weekend, if you're graduating sometime during the week, if you're graduating anytime during the month or even beyond, because then you got summer graduations in some cases that will take place, that we are proud of you. We congratulate you on the journey, and we hope that you have a fantastic and positive experience. I think that there are a few things in life that live up to the experience of graduation. Marching across that stage after you've heard your name called, reflecting on the journey as the journey has provided things for you. And we hope that one of the main things that's provided for you is a foundation for living. And of course, that's one of the big reasons why education exists in the form that it exists. And we hope that you will take full advantage of those opportunities. On the broadcast today, as we get started, as I said, there are going to be some things that I talk about that I wanted to share with you all. Once again, a sad note. I begin on with the passing of Elder Trevor H.C. Baker, president of the Northeastern Conference from 2002 until 2012. He, of course, was a member of Bethel Church when I was a young kid. And his brothers, Kyle and Raul, and the Baker family were icons in that particular space. And I've just known them for so many years. As I reflected last week, Elder Baker was the person that gave me an opportunity to have a job at junior camp in Hyde Park, New York, at Camp Victory Lake, a place that I had spent many summers, whether as a camper or whether as a person attending the camp meeting services, which my parents often did for 10 days at a time, living in Tent City, which, of course, if you're from that time, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And I just so wanted to be a counselor and give back. You know, the Baker was the youth director at that time, and so he gave me an opportunity in 1978. It was at the end of my junior year here at Oakwood. And I went back home in the summer of 79 after graduating and worked at the campground one more time. So 2 years in a row, 78, 79, and then transitioned to the Huntsville community, and I've been here ever since. So my condolences and prayers are extended to the Baker family, those family and friends who loved him dearly, his parishioners over the years, congregants over the years, many people that had the chance to work with him, perhaps and even for him. We extend our deepest condolences on 50 plus years of ministry for God. There's a service taking place today, in fact, at the Linden Seventh-day Adventist Church in New York City. That's Jamaica, New York, to be specific. If you're in the area, you're just learning about this. It's 228-2137th Avenue. If you live in that area and you're part of the Adventist community or maybe even beyond, you probably know about the historic Linden Seventh-day Adventist Church in Jamaica. The service began about an hour ago. And, actually a couple of hours ago, because it started at 1 and we're on Central Time here starting at 2. So they would have started a little bit ago. So we hope that you'll have an opportunity maybe to tune in online and certainly to experience this moment of transition and reflection for the Baker family and the transition of a soldier for the Lord. June is Men's Health Month, and we had an awesome opportunity to highlight that on last week with What's Going On panel, David Person, Dr. Keith Burton, as well as Dr. Leon Seard, a urologist on the West Coast who has been in that space for many, many years now, well accomplished, very knowledgeable, and shared some perspectives on men's health. We all actually reflected on our own health journeys and why it's so important for us to focus on these things. Let me give you a few statistics that you may not be aware of and let you know exactly why we think this is such an important conversation to have. Did you know that on the average, men live about 5 years less than women? Did you know that women are 100%, listen to this, folks, 100% more likely than men to visit the doctor for annual exams and preventive services? Did you know that men have a higher death rate for most leading causes of death, including cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and suicide? Did you know that 1 in 2 men will develop cancer? Did you know that approximately 30,000 men in the U.S. die each year from prostate cancer? Did you know that men make half as many physician visits for prevention as women? And unfortunately, men are more likely to be uninsured than women. In other words, they're not prioritizing their health in ways that they should. This, of course, is extremely important to understand. In 2010, there were 88.9 men for every 100 women in the age group 65 to 69. So you ask, why do we have a men's health emphasis? It's because that men can be more educated. They can become more aware. They can focus on prevention, and they can understand the element of health being a family matter. When lives are cut short or lives are somehow impacted by a health issue, it has a profound impact on the family's life in all kinds of ways, not just financially, in all kinds of ways. And so it's so important for us to emphasize this particular month. On May 31st, 1994, President Bill Clinton signed the bill establishing National Men's Health Week. And even though we didn't necessarily need a bill in order to be able to motivate people to understand that health is your number one priority, it's important to know that this is a issue that was given a very, very intentional and specific place in our lexicon to be able to understand that this positioning of this conversation, it can be a catalyst for change in people's lives for the better. And we would hope that people would take full advantage of those opportunities. As I said last week, I hope that men will take an opportunity to educate themselves during this month, perhaps get tested during this month, see your doctor during this month, become a little bit wiser about why these things are so important for you and for me during the month of June. I want to share some things that might be helpful for you in terms of knowing how to go about managing this process. And I want to share just a few highlights for how you might go about taking charge of your health. Number one, eat healthy. Start by taking small steps like saying no to supersizing and yes to a healthy breakfast. Eat many different types of foods to get all the vitamins and minerals you need. Eat at least one fruit and vegetable with every meal every day. Increase the amount of fruit and veggies in your life, and you will find yourself moving in a very, very positive and productive direction. Secondly, get moving. Play with your kids or grandkids. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. I know that one of the things that I did to start making sure I was getting at one time 25,000 steps a day. It's gone down a little bit, but that's my goal to get back to that place, 25,000 steps a day, was that when I drive into a parking lot, I wouldn't get as close to the door as possible. I'd take the far out parking space so that I would be forced to walk into the building. When I went into the building, if there were stairs, using that as an option, either to go up or down the stairs, because sometimes going up is a little bit more demanding for people. So what about going down the stairs? It still keeps you active, it keeps you engaged, and keeps you moving in ways that can be beneficial to your health. Do yard work. I know it's easy to ride that lawnmower sometimes or pay somebody to do it like I do it sometimes. But just getting that leg work in, that movement of your bodies, and making sure that you're still maintaining some activity is so important, especially for people like me. And there's so many others who are retired now who have a lot of time in our hands. It's important for us to, when we transition from being mobile in one area to not move into a new area and then become less mobile. As we get older, we need to increase or at least sustain and maintain mobility in our lives. Play a sport if possible. Keep comfortable. Walking shoes available. Handy at work and in the car. Most importantly, choose activities that you enjoy to stay motivated. And of course, we'll give this little caveat that it's always important to talk to your doctor before you start a regimen of exercise. It's important to understand your body as unique to you and something that you want to make sure that you're investing in on a regular basis. Number three, make prevention a priority. We know from so many situations and experiences that prevention is one of the best methods to approach health from, because it's a lot easier to stop something from happening than to fix something that has happened, or to erase it, to cure it, or to stop it. So we can prevent it from the front end. We know that we can make some inroads. Many health conditions can be detected early with regular checkups, which is why that's important to do. From your healthcare provider, regular screenings may include blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, prostate health, and more. And as I said last week, I take all my vital signs every morning and one or two in the evening. I was diagnosed with diabetes many years ago. I was told around the age of 50 that my numbers were going up, but I was not given the dreaded diagnosis until a few years ago. And of course, the response is always going to be, we're going to put you on this medication to see how that treats it. And I accepted that at that time, but I also wanted to make sure that my diet changed, that my exercise approach changed. So walking became a priority for me. That's when I went up to 25,000 steps, increasing fruits and veggies, healthy fruits and veggies in my life so that I minimize the risk of developing an even more serious type of diabetes that can have fatal consequences. And we don't always think about that, even though we know that it can be potentially problematic. Being disciplined enough to say no. And so I went to a no sugar, low sugar diet, making sure that I was managing portion control, making sure that I was measuring my blood sugar every single day, at least in the morning and sometimes twice a day, especially if it was a little bit on the high end in the morning. And I'm happy to say it is totally under control right now. My last A1C was 5.7, I believe, and my doctor was thrilled by that and has been calling me a model patient and talked about the fact that, you know, he wishes more people who are confronted with health challenges would respond in ways that can move them in a prevention mode as opposed to a let's fix this, let's treat this mode. And the things that I say no to now, I have no problem with. I was a big candy person back in the day, but so I've made some adjustments as far as that's concerned. And that, of course, is extremely valuable and important to me, that I'm able to manage those things in my life. And that, of course, is so wonderful. So we want you to know, men, that as it is Men's Health Month, that we can do some things to be helpful and beneficial in maintaining our health. Here's some online resources that you may want to consider. menshealthmonth.org. menshealthmonth.org. And we'll put these all in the chat, too, so that you'll have a chance to access these things. menshealthnetwork.org. menshealthnetwork.org. getitchecked.com. getitchecked.com. talkingaboutmenshealth.com. talkingaboutmenshealth.com. and menshealthresourcecenter.com. menshealthresourcecenter.com. These are all resources that you can benefit from as it relates to the health journey during this month of June. It's Men's Health Month, and we hope that you'll take full advantage of it. Now, like I said, my good friend Dr. Leon Seard was on the broadcast last week, and he's partnering with another good friend of mine, Dr. Nosakari Thomas, to bring a Black men's prostate wellness workshop to the San Bernardino area. And I was very happy that Dr. Seard was able to pitch this. And since we know that people are listening all over the nation today and people also listening all over the world, but if you happen to be in the San Bernardino area on June the 21st from 3 to 6, my dear friends, Dr. Leon Seard, a urologist at UC Irvine Health, and also Dr. Nosakari Thomas, who is the executive director of a program out there that simply tries to expose people to important information about their lives, the Black Worker Center. They're doing this partnership in terms of Black Men's Prostate Wellness Workshop in support of June being Men's Health Month. You can, as a part of also getting all this great information, this networking, and this great experience, you can enjoy the smooth jazz sounds of saxophonist Rodney Taylor. You'll be able to savor a delicious meal prepared by Chef Burnett. And, of course, the combination of focusing on music and health and wellness as a priority in our lives, it should be a great experience. We will put information in the chat about how you can learn more about that. And I think that is an amazing thing. And wherever you may be this afternoon listening, if there are forums, workshops, seminars in your community, especially as men, during the month of June, take full advantage of those things so that you can learn as much as you can, because so much of this is about education. Later today, I will have the privilege of joining my good friend, Fredro Starr, who has a very, very interesting and unique program. And I'm going to join him. I'm his co-host today. We're going to see how that works out. Fredro's my guy, but he's bringing me on and he's trusting me in the space that he moves in. The initiative is called Intimidation, Consistency, Social Media Marketing, Small Wins, Gaining Support for Your Business. It's going to take place at Dream Star Studio, 4723 Commercial Drive, from 3 to 5 this afternoon. So when I leave the broadcast today, I'm going to head on down there and take care of that support for my boy, Fredro Starr. Of course, I am so happy and thrilled to be partnering with him in this official capacity, and I look forward to that. My good friend, Commissioner Violet Edwards, the Madison County Commissioner for District 6, is going to be having a special event this month on June 19th. You may recognize that as Juneteenth. It's called Oh Freedom 2025, a Juneteenth community conversation. The topic is the Village Reset, revisiting our core values for a vibrant tomorrow. It will take place at the Robert Bob Harrison Wellness and Advocacy Center, located at 6156 Pulaski Pike. Everyone is welcome to attend. The moderator is going to be our good friend, Dr. Caracas, Doc Rock Watkins, and there's going to be commentary from panelists, Dr. Clarence Sutton, who is the superintendent of the Huntsville City Schools, Dr. Dorothy Houston, who is the founder of the Diversity Leadership Colloquium, Ms. Tiffany Draper, who does an awesome Women's Health Expo each year, and my good friend, Dr. Lyle Lee, who is the president of Huntsville Bible College. That should be a great event, folks, and I hope that as many people as possible can participate. I want you to know that tickets are now on sale for the 4th annual Jazz in the Garden that is being hosted by our friends over at Drake State Community and Technical College. This year, it will feature music by A.J. Gent and his singing guitar with Nina Marie and Ryan Schultz. Ryan, of course, was the headliner last year, and he is a phenomenal saxophonist out of the city of Birmingham. That will take place on Friday, June the 27th, between 6 to 9. You can check out drakestate.edu. You know that they're one of our partners. We have a segment called Drake State Presents, where they have an opportunity to come on and share great information. Also want to let you know that the Disability Resource Network Scholarship Fundraiser, a fireside chat with none other than the Honorable Tony Coelho, former U.S. Representative and ADA sponsor. Tony is a disability advocate and was the primary author and sponsor of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. Act that everyone knows about now, I believe, and should. And he's going to be there for an engaging discussion on inclusivity and accessibility and all individuals with disabilities in the community. Now, proceeds from this event that takes place on July the 19th will be used to continue the mission of Disability Resource Network to provide independent living services to people with disabilities, and a portion of the proceeds will be used to award scholarships for people with disabilities in their service area. I am so excited about bringing this legendary figure to Huntsville, who is responsible for so many people gaining access to things. And Tony, as the author and sponsor of the Americans with Disabilities Act, is making a special visit to the Huntsville community to share perspective and context on that journey. So we're excited about him coming. We'll put that information in the chat box as well. July 19th, 2025 is when that will be taking place. Finally, an organization that I've been a member of for many years now, the 100 Black Men of America John Rich Memorial Golf Classic takes place on Friday, July the 20th. Very excited about seeing that happening. It's the 11th annual golf classic. And that's interesting. I thought we had many more than that, but maybe I'm going to say because that's what the flyer says. So I'm reading the flyer. Join us for a morning of golfing, fun, and great food. You can register at www.100ghc.org, www.100ghc.org. Now, I'm going to tell you, folks, another reason I'm pretty excited about this because 2 weeks ago on Friday, I had the chance to go on the golf course for the first time in my life. Now, people just don't believe that about me. They're like, you're everywhere, Mr. Kenny Anderson. Everybody knows you. You're doing everything. You know where everything is. How is that the first time you've been on a golf course? I spent a lot of time at Top Golf and had a lot of putt-putting, but I'd never been on the Real Deal Greens. And folks, it has changed my life. In fact, I got to stay out of those sporting goods stores because I've been pricing some golf club sets. And once that happens, folks, it's over. And I told my partners, even though I had a team of 3 awesome people, I want to thank my good friend Sierra Belcher Johnson for inviting me out. Sierra, it's your fault, because once I start spending all this time on the golf course and spending all this money on golf stuff, I'm going to start coming to look for you, because it's your fault that I had such a great time. But your fault in a good way. And we all had such a wonderful time, had met some wonderful people. And, of course, that's exactly what's up. So we hope that you'll come out and support an organization, the 100 Black Men. We are all about mentoring young guys. We're all about health and wellness. We're all about education. We're all about economic empowerment. We're all about making a difference in people's lives. I'm going to come back in just a moment and introduce my first live guest for the day. And we'll make sure we give you all that information, folks, so that you'll make sure that you can track stuff and be a part of stuff. But I'll be back in just a minute. It's Second Chance. I'm Kenny Anderson. I hope that you're having an amazing afternoon.
Child, I'm gonna walk that milky white way. Child, one of these days. One of these days. Child, I'm going to walk that milky white way. Child, one of these days. Well. Child, I'm gonna walk on up and take my stand. Child, I'm gonna join that Christian band. That's when I'll be walk that milky white way. Child, one of these days.
One of these days. Child, I'm gonna meet my loving mother. Oh, child, one of these days. Oh, yeah. Don't you know? Child, I'm gonna meet my loving mother. Oh, one of these days.
Well.
I'm going to walk on up and take her hand when we reach that promised land, where we walk that milky white way. Oh, child, one of these days.
One of these days. Child, I'm gonna meet God the Father, and God the Son.
God and the Son.
Gonna meet God the Father, and God the Son.
Going to meet.
I'm gonna meet God the Father and Son. When I'm gonna meet God the Father and God the Son.
God and the Son.
There's nothing that I want more than to see the Father and God the Son. When I get to heaven, I'm gonna see my mighty God and the Son who died for me. When I get to heaven, I'm gonna see the Father and the Son.
God and the Son. Going to see the Father. Meet with the Father. Don't you wanna see the Father? See the Father and see Jesus and see my Jesus when we walk that milky white way.
I don't know about you, but I'm going to I'm gonna walk that milky white way. Gonna see the Father and God and the Son.
Going to you see the Father? Meet with the Father. Don't you wanna see the Father? Oh, see the Father.
Don't you wanna see him?
And see Jesus. And see my Jesus. When we walk that milky white way. Going to meet, going to meet. I am going to meet, going to meet. I am going to meet, going to meet.
Well, I'm gonna meet God the Father. Don't you wanna see Jesus? Won't you come and walk with me when we meet? Going to meet, going to meet, going to meet, going to meet. God and
Transforming lives.
Transforming lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back. I hope that you're having a great Sunday afternoon. It is, of course, the second Sunday of almost the midpoint of what was once a new year, and we are glad that you've taken the time to be with us on this afternoon because we got a great show for you. My next guest, and I'm going to introduce him formally, but first of all, I'm going to say, what's up?
Hey, what's happening?
That's
always
my guy.
A pleasure to be in a Kenny Anderson party.
Hey, man, look, that's my guy right there. So I just had to just keep it real for a minute. Oh, welcome, Robert. That's no. What's going on, man? It's good to have you. I want people to know, though, because this is really a special moment for me, as much as it is a special moment for you and the work that you have just been recognized for. Robert, of course, who has been on this broadcast before, and I'm just so honored each time he finds the time to do that. And it's not a hard thing. I mean, I love the fact that you've made yourself available in this way and that we've been able to create synergy around that relationship that Vic Brooks introduced us and continues to go. Robert is an award-winning actor and filmmaker who leads the acclaimed short film Chess Candy, in which he plays an Army vet and father whose trauma spirals into a dangerous collapse, forcing his mother, who I'm going to introduce in just a moment, actor mother, and family to confront their own grief and fractured bonds. The film premiered at Harlem's 14th Annual People's Film Festival. Shout out to Harlem, my hometown, New York City, where it won Best Short Film Honorable Mention. Robert's credits include The Great Debaters, HBO's The Wire, some of my favorite stuff, and the miniseries John Adams. He's also the author of 2 novellas, has talked about those on the show before, including Cold Night and A Warm Season, which explores mental health for artists. Brother, man, it is good to have you on the broadcast. And once again, I was shouting you out on the show last week. Congratulations. I get to shout you out personally today. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you,
man. It's exciting to have you. I'm going to go ahead and bring Mom in right now. Well, actor Mom. What's going on, Mom?
I'm good.
Antoinette Green is with us this afternoon. She's an award-winning actor who's known for her role as Mayor Catherine Pugh in the HBO miniseries series that just floored me. We Own This City. I mean, it's like when it was over, I wanted more. I was like, come on, can we have a little bit more of this? It was a phenomenal series. And for her work in Tyler Perry's Ruthless, okay, I'll admit I'm a big fan of Ruthless and the Rockadoochies and the Highest and all the other folk. I'm one of my guilty pleasures. I don't talk about it often, but I'm right there watching. And it's great to have you this afternoon, Antoinette. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing real well.
It's good to have you. And I see you're from New York. What part of New York are you from?
I was born in Brooklyn. I lived in the city. Then we lived in Queens. I moved back to the city. And then I relocated. I live in Maryland now.
All right. Yeah.
But my father is from New York. All my relatives. I was just there. Went to see the film with
Yeah.
Robert. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm from the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Lived there 21 years.
Where?
2 blocks from the East River Drive. I was in LaGuardia houses below Delancey Street.
Okay.
And oh yeah. Listen, I went to Brooklyn I went to school and church on Grand Avenue in Brooklyn. 2 sisters that lived in Brooklyn, and I've been all over the city over the years. So it's one of my favorite places. And anytime I meet a homeboy, homegirl, it's great.
Well, I live down on the Lower East Side, so I know that area down there on 12th Street.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. I was Seward Park High School graduate in 1979 with Keenan Ivory Waynes, actually, was my classmate.
Oh, that's because they lived in Chelsea. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Cheshire High.
Yeah.
So that far. I went.
That's right. That's right. Good stuff. Listen, I'm just so excited to have both of you. Got a chance to actually see the project too. And I just want to talk about this wonderful moment of affirmation on something that, Robert, I know you've invested a lot in terms of just the vision and just the direction of this process. And I'm just honored to have played a small part in this process. But tell my listening audience what Chest Candy is.
Well, at the end of the day, Chest Candy is about 3 generations of women that are trying to really save the patriarch of the family. You have the wife who is, she wants her husband to get help, really, And then you have the mom who's from a different era. She's a pull yourself up by the bootstraps type of person. And then you have the young daughter who everything is seen through the prism of innocence. And so I didn't even know when I wrote this script, and this script was gestating for a few years as we were trying to get funding for it and all that stuff. But I didn't know until after I shot the film, this is about women, particularly Black women, doing what they've always done for Black men. I didn't realize it.
Wow. No, you're absolutely right. It's very powerful. Antoinette, what was it about this project that drew you to it? And, I know when you step into a role, you bring something to it, but you probably step away from a role having learned something as well. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it was fun. I saw the script. He had an ad out for actors, and I applied. And he said he was shocked that I did, which I said it's a job. So, and I went up. They were a great crew. Robert's great to work with. He was real easy to work with. I'm a mother, a grandmother also, and my daughter and I went through a whole lot of stuff. Maybe not that my husband who passed had Alzheimer's, so I had to deal with mental illness in my own face, and how you had to deal with it, and how you want to not deal with it, how you wanted to just go away, kind of like this person just snap out of it. So it was something I learned from him, that you can't just snap out. You have to be there as a person who you stand with that person, but you have to let them go through it their own way. They have to come to you and be able to talk to you about it, not you just yelling and screaming, and because you don't feel it. You don't feel that like he's feeling it, or so you just feel like, what's the matter with you? Which a lot of us as in that era felt, your parents like, you snap out of it. You don't have to go through this. You don't go to a therapist. You don't do that. You see, I ripped the paper off the wall. You don't need these classes. You should just be okay because I say so, and it's not true.
Yeah.
And you have to have some empathy, some kindness where what they're going through, just because you don't feel it.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the main character that you played, Robert, who in many ways was not only difficult to understand, and when I'm saying that, I'm really kind of talking about the general population. When they step into the life of a veteran, they don't always understand what's happening. They don't understand what that person has experienced. They don't understand the impact that has placed on a person's life, and how that person's life has been altered forever as a consequence of that. And I want you to maybe talk a little bit about that. I was so happy to see this was premiered on the last day of Mental Health Awareness Month, because I actually saw it as a catalyst for additional ongoing conversation. As I always say, as a mental health professional, let's not just focus on the month. That's great. That's a great time to say, here are these things that are important, but we need to be doing this throughout the year, having these kinds of important, critical conversations in families and communities of faith and more. So talk a little bit about that character and some of the ways in which you brought that character to life.
Yeah, I spent almost a year watching tons of interviews with soldiers and veterans and their families and news stories and documentaries and war films. I mean, I oversaturated myself with that content. And I keep saying that it was very tough. It was very difficult. It was very challenging, very deep. But I did not experience even a fraction of what those individuals experienced living it, whether they fought on the battlefield or fought at home. But I heard so many stories from people in my own family, in my own circle, that experienced things, and they still can't fully explain it to me and to other people in a way that will fully digest it. But what I did get from them was enough for me to say, whoa, that's a lot to deal with. Mm-hmm. I bring up one example that I mentioned at the premiere of folks that have, they go into the mall and right away they're scoping it out just to make sure that everything is safe. If they hear a loud noise, they react a certain way. And no mental health or PTSD or whatever the issue may be case is the same for each one. And you don't have to fight on the battlefield to have PTSD either. There are people that have served that have gotten certain challenges for a variety of reasons. But I just wanted to foster that empathy that Antoinette just mentioned. I wanted to promote a different way of thinking and just being a little more sensitive and a little more patient with people that you may not understand what they're going through because they can't always articulate it. And they don't always know that they're even in that state.
Yeah. It's pretty tough because, we live in a country that in some ways honors the service of people who go out and protect us through the military. And yet when those people come home, and there are many layers of that too, because it's not only just the military folks themselves, the veterans, but it's also then people of color who are then relegated to an even lower level and disrespected and discounted and marginalized. So you have many layers to this whole thing of serving, doing something that you perhaps felt was, this is important to do. And even if you're told to do it, these are things that I've been ordered to do. I've been commanded to do. I've got to come back now and negotiate how I manage that. And you called your TV mom, your movie mom, Antoinette, a bootstrap mom, kind of that traditional mom that, I guess you're kind of looking at your son saying, tough it up, this is our family way, but yet it also shows a disconnect in some ways as well. Talk a little bit about that.
I was thinking when he was talking, you as a parent and or anyone around that person, it's scary. It's scary what they're doing because mental illness is a different level. If someone has cancer, you can probably deal with it. But with someone in mental, you never know when they're going to snap. You never know. And so you want to pull up because you don't want to believe that. And one thing I was going to say about, and I'm not going to say it's full truth, but in the military, they're not going to promote drugs, but they'll promote drinking. And I have a cousin who's younger than me who now has a thing in him to shock him from that drinking. He drank himself to the point where he has major issues. So and that's trying to hide or cover up what is really wrong with them because they're not getting the help. They're not getting the help that they need to get over whatever they dealt with wherever they were. So like I said, we don't know, and we want to believe that you should snap out of it. We want you to get better. We want you to be who you were before you left.
Yeah,
you're not there anymore.
And I echo that, Antoinette, because I had confidential consultants as well that were military and retired military, and they said the same thing about the alcohol.
Yeah. I want to ask you, Antoinette, for a moment. There was a scene where I was actually feeling a sense of hope And then I suddenly lost that sense of hope for whatever reason. And there was a specific reason why it happened. You were cleaning up in the kitchen and you came across a flyer that talked about support group. And, you know, anytime as a counselor, I'm excited, you know, let's connect people to the resource they need. You take it off the refrigerator and it looks like you throw it in the trash.
I did.
Tell me about that.
Because I didn't believe in it. For his sake, I didn't believe it. For his movie, I didn't believe in it. It didn't have, my father wasn't like that. His grandfather wasn't like that. My grandfather was tough. I grew up in a military home, even though I wasn't in the military. I knew how he dealt with it. But what was shown to me, not truly knowing what my father went through deep down, because they didn't talk. I mean, you had people at that time, they died. They took their secrets with them.
Yeah.
And you never find out until like somebody says something to you and you're like, really? So, but now it's more open. Like you say, groups, like I said, my husband had Alzheimer's. I found groups to go to. I went and talked to people because I didn't know how to deal with it. But that's now. It's a little bit more open to do that.
Yeah. Robert, one of the most tense scenes in the film, of course, to me, was the scene where you held a gun on your daughter, having a flashback, having a moment of trauma, and just sort of trying to negotiate that whole experience. I didn't know what the outcome of that was going to be, but it certainly pushed me to the edge of my seat. Talk to me about that particular moment of both, I think, transition as well as awareness.
Yeah, it's interesting. At the premiere, I was sitting in the back of the screening room, and you could hear people reacting in a certain way to that particular scene, which I knew would probably be the case. How you interpret that scene is up to individual interpretation, but certainly he did, my character did go through something serious in that moment, and it was a very interesting scene to shoot. On set, you know, we all were in between takes. It was a very heavy subject matter that we were dealing with, but we were able to keep things light here and there to the extent that we could. And I don't think anyone really knew how that was going to come together until the edit. Yeah. I knew in my mind how I would piece everything together, but the way that the script was presented, and Antoinette can probably tell you this, it may not have been clear how all of that was going to transpire. And I added things because I knew it was going to focus on the psychological aspect of things. It is the moment of no return, if you will. You know, it's the moment that certain characters in this film are going to make a decision one way or another because of how it goes, how it could have gone. You know, I'm trying not to give away too much of that exact scene, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be sobering for the audience. Yeah, that much I can say.
Oh, when that scene went dark for a moment, I didn't know what was going to happen next. I was absolutely concerned. But like again, you know, after I watched it this morning, I told you, wow, it's just such a powerful piece. And I wonder, Antoinette, as this product is now available, people have seen it, they've experienced it. What do you hope people take away from this? What's the message that you hope people take away?
The words you just said, that there is hope, that that you're not alone, that you have people to help you, and then you can get the help, and the people with you and your family to be there by your side and to know that they can get you help. And if they're scared or if that they have a place they can talk to and feel safe also. Mm-hmm. You have to find it. It's on both sides. Yeah. You know, it's both the people that you live with and that person themselves.
And if I could just add, Kenny,
please.
People who watch this, you know, watch it all the way through the credits, because there are some moments that happen in there that may offer some glimpses into what could be as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's a great teaser, I'll say, for sure. People should do that. You know, there was I want to mention your movie wife for a moment too, because her role was interesting to me because she represented something that we often see in this particular space of somebody who I believe is really trying to be there and to be present and to be supportive, but just can't make that connection because the weight of your experience is so profound that you don't even know how to get her where she needs to get. You don't even know how to be available to her in order to be able to provide what she seems to be looking for. The scene where you just kind of stretch your hand across and you're kind of laying there, and it's like, and it's not the first time that you've had engagement, but it's like, it's almost to me like you're trying something.
Trying to find that reconnection.
Yeah. And but yet there's still that huge disconnect,
Yeah.
And I just thought that was a very powerful piece of filmmaking as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lauren Michelle Morgan, who plays my wife in the film. I mean, she's amazing. She's like Antoinette. She's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've run out of adjectives to describe my cast. She does so, but Lauren does so much just with her eyes, just with the look, with the glance, and then when she does speak, you don't have a choice but to listen.
Yeah.
To what she's saying. But absolutely, she is strong, but breaking at the same time. I mean, dealing with his impact on the family is messing with her own mental health, if you really think about it.
And I was going to say that was the first time I saw it, and to see him, it was like, I want to say a zombie, but like he wasn't there.
Mm-mm.
And he like you said, you get like a glimpse of that person trying to come back, but he was too gone.
Yeah.
And this actually happens. I'm sorry not to cut you off, but this actually happens for us actors too, because there's a scene with headphones in this. When we shot that, Lauren made a decision in the scene to do something. I didn't know she did it until I went to the edit room, because I was just in a completely different headspace when we shot that particular scene. So it's a scary thing. I've seen actors go to places and then not be able to come back from it. So we have to be careful about that.
The commanding officer too he was in your head. I mean, it's like he was deep in your head. And I think from a perspective of a metaphor, it's kind of like what was demonstrated to me in terms of how you were responding to those voices in your head was that the indoctrination is so deep as it relates to the training that it's impossible to erase it. And people who withdraw from that experience have to really intentionally and strategically work towards finding their way as a consequence of now being out of that environment. But that to me is part of the disconnect. You don't know how to find your way. And so it actually leaves a lot of people lost in terms of that particular experience. I wanted to, I want to talk to you guys for a long time, but I see our time is waning away. I wanted to give you a chance to talk about the two dedications that you made as it relates to the film as well, because I think those two things are significant as well.
It's very interesting. I was just having a few conversations today about all of the divine intervention or the serendipity, whatever, spiritual things that have been happening. This movie premiered 1 year to the actual days that we shot the film, number one. Number two, we got into the People's Film Festival 1 day before my grandmother, Henrietta Pompey Bennett, passed. And 2 days before the film premiered, we lost a dear family member of mine, Nico McKnight, brother of our film's composer, Brian McKnight Jr., and obviously a friend to the show. And so we dedicated our premiere, and I dedicated our win to Nico and my grandmother. Both of them gone too soon. Even though my grandmom was 90, it was unexpected. And Nico just early 30s. It's heartbreaking, but I know that they are with the ancestors now. And this film is now forever dedicated to them as well.
Yeah, very powerful moment. Antoinette, what's next for you?
Oh, what do I know? Auditioning, taking classes, auditioning. Hopefully, if Robert does a full length, I can play his mom in that too. I don't know. I just throw it out there.
Let me just show you this award real quick.
Oh, yeah.
This is the heaviest award I've ever received, that we've ever received. I mean, it's just, oh my goodness.
Wow.
This is an honorable mention. Like, I don't even want to touch it with my hand.
Yeah, listen. Hold it up again. Don't put it down just yet. We want to take a good look at it.
We don't do this for awards, but when your work feels seen, it matters.
And it's your first festival.
And the first festival for this film, absolutely.
Yeah. Robert, what was the moment like? You heard the film called.
I just wasn't expecting it at all, and I was surprised. I believe it or not, I was lost for words. My mother, who was one of the producers of the film, she said, "You were lost for words." But I really was. I truly was. Just to know that it was seen, it was recognized, it was appreciated by the audience, and an audience of, this is a universal story, but it's also unapologetic in its depiction of what it's like to be a Black veteran in a Black veteran's family. So to be appreciated by the Black community, it means everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And next for you?
Next for me, well, I have a docuseries on Victor and Sandra Brooks that is in post-production now with Brooks Entertainment. Wow. It's called Synergy. And Vic Brooks and I co-directed it. So,
oh man,
I don't know if given things that have happened recently, if it'll be delayed. But that too will be something else that is in honor of Nico as well. And I have some other documentary projects that are in the pipeline. As for scripted material, I don't know what's next. But according to Antoinette, we have a feature to get started on. So maybe that.
Well, listen, Robert, one thing I know about you is, and we've talked about this before, is that you're not waiting around for grass to grow under your feet, and that a big part of the work that you do has a lot to do with how you step into this space in ways that honor the kinds of gifts and creative opportunities that you have for yourself, and then pursuing those things. And so I don't know what it will be either, but it's going to be something, and it's going to be good. And once that drops, I want to have you, Victor, Sandra, and Vic on the show, and we can all talk about it, because those are my peeps, and I would love to have that opportunity. I think that would be an amazing experience.
Absolutely.
So tell us how people can, will Chess Candy be released in some way so people can see it, or how can people stay in touch with Robert X. Golphin Entertainment?
So you can go to Instagram at Robert X. Golphin Entertainment, Facebook at Robert X. Golphin or Robert X. Golphin Entertainment, and robertxgolphin.com/Chess Candy. That'll give you all the information you need. I don't know what's next for the film on the film festival journey, but hopefully we'll have some new dates to announce soon. But I will say that we are looking to partner with any mental health organizations that would like to sponsor screenings anywhere in the nation. Even if we aren't able to be there physically, we'll chime in virtually and have a talk back or a Q&A. So if there are any organizations or groups out there that would like to sponsor, please touch base with us and we will get that on the books.
Well, I know I'm going to definitely try to work on that in our community and take the lead on that. So that would be awesome. Antoinette, how can people stay connected to you and the work that you do, the wonderful work that you do?
Well, I am on Instagram, Tony Green 57, and on Facebook. I think I don't even remember. It's Antoinette Green probably there. I don't, you're on you're on all these places. And I do have a website, AntoinetteGreen.com. So, if anything comes up, I'll surely put it out there.
All right.
Internet is
I'm kind of
Antoinette is extremely humble. You
I
have
am.
another short film that is making the rounds right now. I
Oh, the one that's called see, my name is out of we did it in West Virginia. I just played like the counselor, and it's about abused women.
Oh.
And up in West Virginia, and husband that's going off. So yeah, there's a few shorts, and like I say, I do some auditions. You sit and wait. You know, it's one of those jobs that you have that you got to just take it because you get turned down a lot.
Yeah.
You got to have a strong back.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Robert X. Golphin, Antoinette Green, thank you for joining me today. Congratulations again on the success of Chess Candy. What a powerful experience on May the 31st. And we look forward to great things coming again in the future.
And I thank you, Robert, and you, Kenny.
All right. Have a good rest of the day. We'll talk.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, folks, what a great conversation. Robert and Antoinette joining me this afternoon for perspective on that project, Chess Candy. You've heard me mention it here before. It's all come together now, and it has come together in a very powerful and amazing way, and we hope that you'll take advantage of that. I am going to work towards getting a screening here in our community. I do have a vast enough network, I think, to be able to make that successful and then have a subsequent discussion. It would be ideal to be able to do it during the month of June again, during Men's Health Month. But we'll get it done for sure because I think it's such an important conversation to have. And we look forward to that happening. I'm going to come back in just a moment with my next guest. I'm Kenny Anderson. It's Second Chance, and I hope you're having an amazing afternoon.
Transforming lives.
Transforming lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. We hope that you have been enjoying the broadcast that we have had for you today. Of course, we just got finished talking with Robert X. Golphin, as well as talking with Antoinette Green, the stars of Chess Candy, a film that just won a big award in New York City just last weekend. And we're so honored and grateful that they had the opportunity to join us this afternoon to talk about the significance of that film that focused on mental health in the midst of June being Men's Health Month. I thought it'd be great to have somebody who could come on and talk to us about being better caretakers of our health. Why don't I put it that way? He's none other than Dr. Anthony Chornes. He, of course, has been on the broadcast before. I had to look it up because shame on me, I haven't had him back since. But the pandemic had hit. And it was right around August of 2020 that we had him come on because, again, when the pandemic first started, we didn't know a lot about what was going on. But I was hearing a lot of stuff about eating more fruit and vegetables and the immune system and things of that nature, and wanted him to lend his expertise to this conversation and or to that conversation. And we had a wonderful experience learning about his perspective as a naturopathic doctor and somebody who has a tremendous amount of information. He is a natural health and wellness consultant. He's worked as a licensed healthcare practitioner for over a decade in the field of natural health and wellness for more than 25 years now, holds multiple degrees in the area, and he has trained internationally on a variety of different topics as it relates to health. It'd be a great month to have him. I'm not trying to book his calendar for him, but it'd be a great month to have him come and talk to you. So we're going to talk to the folks listening on 90.1 FM this afternoon, the folks who are live streaming at Praise 90.1 FM on YouTube and Facebook, and the folks on WJLU.org. Dr. Chornes, how are you doing this afternoon?
I am awesome today. How about you?
I cannot complain, man. I got to tell you, I'm real excited because I started the show today talking a little bit about June being Men's Health Month. And every time I talk about health, I think I glow. And I glow because I'm really understanding, not just now, it's been several years, but I'm really, really settled into we are what we eat, that our health is our wealth, the idea that we can make choices about our lives that can enhance the quality of our lives. And so I'm really looking forward to hearing from you today.
Oh, I'm excited about sharing because it's a vital, important topic. Let me make sure this audio is. Are you hearing an echo?
Not hearing an echo right now.
All right, you're good then. Just make sure.
Yeah.
All right. It's a vital topic, and it's something that sometimes we need individuals like myself to communicate it in such a way that value can be added into it. Most of us want good health, but most of us do not have the right environment, social connections that foster health and wellness. The majority of our community, we're sitting around relationships that do not foster at least physical well-being. It may foster the social well-being, but it does not foster the physical well-being. And unfortunately, we wait until there is major issues to have a higher consciousness of, I really need to do something to build my health and wellness. So these conversations are very important because here's the thing, Kenny, someone's going to listen to this and it's going to radically transform their life going forward. Someone is going to be delivered from having diabetes. Somebody's going to be delivered from heart disease. Somebody's going to be delivered from the potentiality of having various types of cancer. just because the conversations were fostered in such a way that it inspired them to change.
Yeah. Wow. I love that because we are all about giving people the tools to experience transformation. Correct. And to be able to experience a better quality of life. And I will start right there with you right now. Let's talk about nutrition and just fundamentally why that's such an important thing for us to be mindful of, understanding that we have choices about it. And again, let me not disrespect people who live in food deserts. I understand food insecurity and some of the challenges that people face. I get all of that, but we're really kind of talking in a more ideal way today about what we can aspire to for our own personal health. So let's just start with nutrition. Where should people be focused on as it relates to nutrition?
That's a great question. And I think what the focus of many is a black and white focus, where it needs to be, like, for example, there are certain things that I do not have in my diet. And these things are not a part of my diet because these things are bad. Meaning the focus is not because it's bad for me. I'm pro-life. So my mindset, I'm gravitating towards what is going to produce life. So we talk about nutrition, we're talking about the core elements that make us who we are, that sustains the mechanisms of the body. And when we don't nourish ourselves well, what happens is that there is a deficiency factor. And then there's also a toxicity factor that creates what is called cell malfunction. And cells need nutrition, but they also need to be cleansed and detoxified. So when you have the right nutrition, it does both of those things. Not only does it provide the fundamental core chemical constituents that act with two values, Kenny. One value, it's a nutrient. Another value, it is a medicine. Let's say garlic. Garlic is a nutrient and it is a medicine. So foods, especially whole foods, provide for the human body both the nutritional profile as well as the medicinal profile. And it gives the needs of the cells those core elements that sustain their ability to operate normally. Now, here's why that's important, Kenny. If cells malfunction, tissues are going to malfunction. If tissues malfunction, that means that organs are going to malfunction. If organs malfunction, then systems malfunction, neurological systems, reproductive system, digestive system, urinary systems. And it all goes back to that question you just asked me about nutrition. And we have to start asking ourselves, does the food that we take in have the right chemical profile nutritionally to satisfy the needs of my cells that support the tissue, organs, and systems, and ultimately the body that I have? Yeah. And if we do not, then we're going to find ourselves having chronic illnesses.
Two questions as it relates to nutrition, and I'm going to get on to a couple of other things. I got to have you back on again soon, too, because clearly this is an expansive conversation.
Very much
so. One of the things, I see a lot of recalls these days. It used to be that we were calling meat and chicken and stuff like that, but now we're calling lettuce, cucumber, broccoli. I mean, all the stuff that we've been told, you need to eat these things. And now we're seeing a lot of recalls on that.
Right.
How do we navigate that challenge with the earth being polluted and all of these toxins environmentally corrupting the supply?
Great question. There are some things that for the most part, we're not going to be able to avoid. But at the same time, we can fortify our body to offset some of those problems. So I believe in to some degree, what you mentioned about issues with some of the whole foods we have, like lettuce and tomatoes and all these recalls. I think sometimes situations like that, we can take that and expand the way we think and move. So for example, what that tells me is that I need to start growing more of my own food if possible. Mm-hmm. And even if you in an urban community, you can grow in grow beds. There's all type of options you have now that you can grow your own lettuce and never have to go to the grocery store, at least during those seasons and purchase lettuce. So it offsets the exposure. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, if I'm caring for my body, it creates a great defense mechanism when it comes to exposure to things that are harmful. Our bodies are designed to defend itself. But if I'm intentionally taking in things that harm me, but at the same time, I'm exposed to things that I'm not intentionally trying to bring in harmony or exposed to my body, then I have a defense system. Is that making sense?
Yes.
So if you're not eating right, you're not exercising, you're not doing all these things, and then you are exposed to something, you're going to have major problems. But if you're investing in your health, you're exercising, you're drinking water, you're getting rest, you make sure you're getting whole food supplementation, and you're building up the human mechanism, it is designed by the Creator to be a defense mechanism as well, if it's given what it needs.
Let's talk about, you just raised the next issue. Let's talk about the choice of water that people have. Water is vastly better than most beverages that are out there across the whole spectrum of beverages. Mm-hmm. And talk to me a little bit about water as an essential process of our health journey. Not just something that's optional. I'll have a glass here, a glass there. But just talk to me about the essential element of water for our lives.
Oh, great question. You look at our human bodies mirror the earth. We came from the earth. Some 70 to 75% of the earth is water. Some 70 to 75% of our body is water. Even our brain is some 80% water. Our bones are made up of water. So water is essential to life, and it is one of the 5 needs of the cells. So if I'm not Now, when we talk about water, Kenny, we're not just talking about just drinking water. We're talking about hydration. Mm-hmm. So the body needs to be hydrated. And when we hydrate our bodies, then mechanical functions, cellular functions, biological functions can operate normally. But we need to be wise and have understanding about how we should choose water, because not all water is created equal. For the most of us, we're drinking water that is purchased, okay? One of the things that would be a takeaway for our listeners is that we should gravitate more towards water that is not acidic. So a great number of the water that's on the shelves are acidic, all right? Not to say that it has to be alkaline, but it has to be in harmony with the pH of the blood, okay? And it needs to be at least 7, above 7, all right? Below that is acidic. So if you take in that acid water, it's actually dehydrating you and demineralizing you, okay? The second thing I would say about water, start moving towards choices of water that are encapsulated either in glass or BPH-free plastics, because when you drink plastic bottled water, you're taking in estrogen. And that chemical estrogen is going to disrupt your hormone balance. So the choices of water and how we drink water and choose water is very essential.
I love it. I love it. And I hope that people are taking lots of notes this afternoon. Let me talk a little bit about rest, because it's one of those things that I know I'm grateful, actually, that it didn't take me to become a little bit more advanced in age to understand the value of rest. But a lot of people are having a rough time in life because they're not getting enough rest. And maybe that's motivated by any number of things. Maybe it's their failure to manage stress in life or failure to balance needs and things like that. Just talk about, again, I'm going to use this word, the essential element of rest as it relates to our health.
And that's a critical area because, as you mentioned, most of us, especially in our westernized society, do not get adequate rest. And a lot of it has to do with the conveniences that we have, television, Netflix and chill. After a hard day's work, you want to sit and watch the Late Show and various things like that. But what I usually do is try to communicate in such a way as if your body was an employee and you've worked all day and you don't get a day off. The body needs rest to rebuild, to repair. Not only that, when we talk about emotionally and mentally, it affects us cognitively if we're sleep deprived. Not having enough rest makes us more irritable. Not having enough rest affects our mental well-being. Not having enough rest also causes us to age faster. So when you get rest, you're fitted for the day to come. So it's imperative that, if possible, we should be in the bed by 9:30 or so. 10, 11, 12 o'clock for most people is not that rejuvenative rest. So now what I tell people, that's a hard pill to swallow to say 9:30. But most people are like, whoa, come on, man. Help me. But at least identify where you are and start cutting back 30-minute intervals. And what you will discover, the sooner you're able to get to bed, the more rest you're going to be able to obtain, and the better your health will be just in that one area.
I'm reminded as you're talking that, when sometimes people say all money's not good money, I guess all sleep is not good sleep. The sleep that we get before 12 o'clock is much better than sleep that we're going to get after 12 o'clock. Correct. And people don't always realize that.
That's correct. That is the critical period of time between 10 and 12 midnight. And for the majority of even professionals, the turn down time is after 10 o'clock for most individuals nowadays.
Yeah. They got to do a better job of that. We've got about 3 minutes left, and I just want you to give a quick shout out to exercise and maybe just give people a little bit of maybe 2.5 minutes of guidance on how they might step into that area and what they need to be thinking about.
Great question. Hey, scripture says 6 days shall thy labor and do all thy work. Kenny, I'm in the gym 6 days a week. And what it does for me, I'm just giving you personal tests. It translates into my everyday life. I'm stronger. My mental and emotional well-being is peaked. I rest better. I live out in the country, so I weed whack and do things out. It's easier for me to do it because I'm stronger.
Yeah.
And for those who are not exercising, you're missing out on a major game changer in not only your physical well-being, but your mental and emotional well-being. And I would encourage you to start off with small dosages. Don't try to bite the whole apple at once. Go into the gym. I would say start off with some of the machines that can help you keep your form and not lift and twist and move in the wrong way. But having a good cardiovascular exercise program and a strengthening program will radically transform not only how you think and feel cognitively, but also physically. It's going to improve the dexterity and your strength and how you move, and I'm able to just go up and down stairs and lift things. It just makes your life a whole lot easier.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah, and I mean, when you think about some of the challenges that unfortunately people face, I'll go back to something you said earlier. It's a lot more beneficial to avoid a challenge than it is to try to fix a challenge. And let's just do everything we can. Take months like this, for example, especially men out there listening today and the people that love the men. Support, encourage. We don't want to irritate and annoy people into help, but we want to let them know that, you know, there are choices that people can make that can be beneficial to the sustaining of their lives, the longevity that is available to them, and more. And when I say longevity, we're all aging, but we want to age gracefully. We want to age healthily. And we want to be able to be in a position where over time, we're not broken down. We're older, but we're broken down. It's not a good position to be in.
No.
And mobility loss, it's going to slow down anyway, but mobility loss is a horrible thing. So let's be on top of that. Dr. Chornes, you've been absolutely awesome in terms of sharing this information. I'm going to reach out to you again soon and get you on my calendar one more time, because I would love to have these conversations. I'm a big health person in my mind, and I want as many people to know and grow as they possibly can and to embrace these very basic, practical things that can be helpful for them. How would people get connected to you and find out about the mission that you're on in terms of helping people have a better quality of life?
Great. That's easy. They can go to drchornes.com, drchornes.com, or they can contact me via phone, 256-715-7947, 256-715-7947. And if you reach out to me, I can give you valuable information of what direction you need to personally go in to improve your health and your wellness and live life and live it more abundantly.
Hey, you got some preaching in you too, huh? Man,
Yeah, man.
Anthony, listen, man, it's always great to talk to you, and I look forward to our next opportunity to chat.
I'm looking forward to it, my friend.
All right, man. Have a good rest of the day.
You as well. Bye-bye.
All right. Dr. Anthony Chornes joining us this afternoon, and we're appreciative of the great information that he had to share. I'll be back in just a moment with my next guest. It's Second Chance. I'm Kenny Anderson, and I hope that you're having an amazing afternoon.
Just as I am without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me, and that thou bidst me come to thee, O Lamb of God, I come. O Lamb of God, I come.
Transforming lives.
Transforming lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I hope that you enjoyed my conversation with Dr. Anthony Chornes and all of the great stuff that he had to share about taking care of ourselves. June is Men's Health Month, and we're going to be dropping a little bit of information each week to try to inspire you to have a healthier lifestyle and a better way of living. My next guest is Dr. Ndala Booker. I almost called you Gooding because that's your maiden name, and that means we know each other. Ndala Booker transforms how organizations and individuals think, decide, and solve problems through practical, critical thinking frameworks. As a keynote speaker, consultant, and author of Rethinking Thinking, a practical guide for solving real problems from the boardroom to the breakfast table, she has revolutionized critical thinking development across multiple industries since 2007. Her dynamic presentations help executives make confident decisions, turn struggling teams into innovative powerhouses, and give leaders clarity to navigate complex challenges. Welcome to the broadcast, my friend, Dr. Ndala Booker. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. It is so good to see you, Kenny. Wow, that is amazing.
It is good to see you, too. It's been a while, and of course, you're doing all kinds of wonderful things. I thought this would be a good time to catch up, especially around the publication of this awesome book, Rethinking Thinking.
Thank you.
So congratulations on the book.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Talk to me a little. Listen, timing is everything, and let's just say it landed when it needed to.
Yeah.
Because this also gives us a chance to talk and reconnect and that kind of thing. And
absolutely.
And I'm happy for that chance. So it's all good.
Me too. Actually, I look at this as like my play date for the day. I was like, yes, I get to go and play with Kenny today.
That's all right. That's good. No. Rethinking Thinking. That's such a cool name for a book, first of all. And then, of course, you have the subtitle where you're saying a practical guide for solving real problems from the boardroom to the breakfast table. Talk to me a little bit about the genesis of this book and how you landed on such a cool title.
Well, I think I have been using Rethinking Thinking for a lot of my presentations, and because that's really what I want people to do. I want them to think about their thinking. That's what, foundational metacognitive critical thinking is all about. So I was using that as a title for, a lot of my presentations. And I thought this might be really good for me to do for the book as well. The truth is, I didn't really want to write the book. No, I didn't. No, I didn't want to write a book. I watched my dad write 2 books and I was like, I don't want to do this. So the biggest thing for me was that I would go and do presentations for conferences. I was starting to do these keynote sessions, speaking, and then going into companies and doing workshops and seminars. And this question kept coming, right? Do you have a book?
Like, where's the book, right?
Where's your book? Where's your book? And I was like, no, I don't have a book. I can give you a 1-sheeter. How about that? I give you a 1-sheeter with all the stuff summarized. We can prove it. But no, people were like, nope, we want a book. And so finally I kept thinking, like, how do I do this? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I did not want to write. And I say this to everyone because it is so true. I did not want to write some stuffy academic something that people would look at and be like, I don't want to read this because it's, I don't want to, this is not something I want to. I wanted it to be something that people saw as a practical guide that they could use every day, no matter what they were doing. So, I've been working with executive teams, so CEOs and presidents of companies, but then I'm also working with, church groups or high school students and college students, undergrad, graduate level, and then professional world. Like, I'm speaking over at Advent Health to a group of surgeons. So it's everybody, right? So there was no specific group. And I wanted to make sure that no one could say, this isn't for me. So that's why it's a practical guide from the boardroom to the breakfast table, because I really wanted for a CEO to be able to pick it up and find value in whatever challenges he was facing, and he could utilize it for that. And I also wanted the mom that was sitting at the dinner table with her kids trying to negotiate curfew. I wanted her to be able to use that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just for anyone.
No, listen, that's great. And I'm excited about talking about some specific things that you have included, some specific gems that you have buried in this particular work that people can glean through and discover. I want to ask you this question first, though, to kick that conversation off.
Okay.
What do people generally get right about thinking, and what do people generally get wrong about thinking? I'm excited about this conversation because, again, my space is mental health. And the whole notion of metacognition is something that I've talked to people about for years. I've also tried to apply it to myself, thinking about thinking, and what does that mean?
Yeah.
What do people what do people miss as it relates to that very essential skill? And what do people get right about it?
So I think there are a couple of things. One of the things that people miss is I think we make assumptions about that term critical thinking, right? So I think that people don't think it's something you should use every day. I think that people believe that, and a lot of times when I speak to different audiences, I'll ask them, where was the first place you heard about critical thinking? And most of them will say either somewhere in high school or in college. And then I ask for a definition, and it's really hard for people to give me one. And I think what happens is we learn it in a silo of whatever it is that we're doing. So we'll learn it in whatever class we're in, whether it's English or psychology or, some science class that we're learning critical thinking in. And then we sort of walk out of the classroom and we leave the critical thinking back there because we think that that's where it's supposed to be applied. When in reality, you can use critical thinking to figure out which ketchup you want to buy at the grocery store, right? Or which grocery store you want to shop at. You can use critical thinking in everything that you're doing, and we should be, because foundationally, that's something we should all be doing. So I think what people miss is that it's for everyone. And not only that, but we have to understand how we think before we can really delve into higher conversations with other people, or not even higher order conversations, but just regular conversations. Like if I'm talking about politics, I need to know how I think and why I think the way I think. What kind of barriers are there in my thinking? Am I using certain filters or modes as I'm thinking through whatever this political conversation is? If I don't know that, then I could be going in at a disadvantage, going into a conversation at a disadvantage. So
that's such a good example, and it opens up all these other areas that people perhaps find themselves challenging. You think about the conversations that one may have as it relates to matters of faith and how close that can be. And you talk about matters in terms of people who are in their process of personal and career development and how close that space might be and how critical it is, and I would even say essential, to have the kind of skill that opens up that space, but also creates a tremendous amount of self-awareness so that people kind of know I'm stepping into this in this particular, this is my headset right here. This is what I'm bringing to the table, because things that are said can now trigger, they can shut down, they can actually confine. I mean, that's such a good point that you just made.
Oh, thanks. But the truth of the matter is that we have a lot of this prior knowledge, right? So everything that comes along with us based on who we are. And we utilize all of that stuff to think things through. And if we don't realize that there may be some things back there that aren't accurate, right? There may be some things back there that are misconceptions, beliefs that we have that may not be accurate. And then we utilize those things as we are moving forward in our lives. That's how we relate to everyone based on everything that we are, everything we come from, our perspective, our frame of reference. We filter everything through that. So if we have mistakes in those places and we don't address it, we don't adjust it, then again, we're at a disadvantage.
Yeah. And we always want to be in a position of perhaps moving forward.
Right.
And in some instances, even winning and prevailing. So that's always a good thing. I want to talk about some of the specific elements of your book. And I'm just going to mention some of these things that you, of course, have said, and just let you lay it out for us and just, give us a short summary statement about each of these things. Within the book, one of your goals is to help people cut through workplace drama with laser focused clarity And of course, to the point you just made, oftentimes people are working in toxic cultures that actually set them up for failure. And because they don't exactly know and have given thought to how they think, they step in with the potential of being more vulnerable than they should be. So just cutting through workplace drama for greater clarity, what are you suggesting with that?
So first of all, once again, you start out with your own space. You have to start out with your own space, understanding yourself, knowing who you are, understanding what some of those challenges might be in your thinking, and get rid of those first, or at least work on them as much as you can, right? So like chapter 4 talks about that crazy ego. If you're a person who goes into your workspace every day thinking that you are the main character, not just in your own story, but in everyone else's story as well, and you don't recognize the fact that everyone has their own active, vivid lives happening that has nothing to do with you, then you could have some challenges. And we do see that. You know, how many times do we hear people say things like, oh, I waved at them and they didn't wave back. They must be mad at me. Okay, so we are the main character in their story as well as ours, when in reality, there could have been something on their minds that had nothing at all to do with us. And most likely that's the case, right? So going into a workplace and dealing with that type of drama, again, when you begin to apply some of the rules behind thinking well, dealing with your ego, dealing with your filters, the modes that you have, then as you go into the workplace, you just go in a better circumstance.
Yeah.
Right? Because even situations like what we're seeing in the news, you watch the news in the morning, something happens in the news that upsets you, or, you know, makes you angry or makes you upset, just, you know, whatever it is. And you go into work and now you're in this mode from what happened on the news, and now you're sort of relating to everyone that way. And depending on what the story is, that could be really challenging in how you interact with people who may not be, if it's something political, if it's someone who's not a part of your political party, or if it's someone, you know, if it's something else worse, you know, something that has to do with a shooting that happened, and now you're going in and you're looking at certain individuals a certain way, and you're relating to people a certain way. If you're not critically thinking through those things, it can just cause a real challenge with that human to human interaction.
Yeah. Well, that's rich. And, you know, when people share with you that they have had difficulty adjusting to several environments, you know, maybe they've moved from job to job over the last 2 to 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. The one constant in that case is them.
Exactly.
And so to your point about where do we start looking? Yeah, right here. Let's start getting this cleaned up. Let's because I'm the one constant.
That is the truth. You know, you can't. Like I heard somebody say one time, trying to control the world around you is a cumbersome impossibility. And to me, what that means is that not only is it, because cumbersome means really heavy, right? So not only is it super heavy, but it's not possible.
Yeah, right.
So the only person that I can really control is myself.
Yeah.
Right. So if I understand myself and I understand who I am and I'm always working to get better, then as I walk into any situation, I'll be able to see how that works. I'll be able to see things changing and the quality of my life will just be better.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I love this one because this is one of those core elements of so many people's lives, navigating family discussions without needing therapy afterward. Now, let me invite my audience to stop what you're doing right now and listen to what's about to be said. We're going to give somebody some help today.
I love it. I love it. No, see, that's the other part, right? It's being able to use critical thinking in everything that you're doing, not just in your professional life or your academic life, but in your personal life as well. So, for example, in two circumstances, right? And I tell a scenario of when my second daughter was in her early teens. She's 15 or so. We were just butting heads all the time, probably because we're so much alike. And I actually used this critical thinking framework to help me resolve some of the challenges that I was having. And it was me. It wasn't her. Right? Well, some of it may have been her, but most of it was me. I'm just going to say. So most of it was me. But when it comes to family drama, when it comes to dealing with not just parents dealing with their young people, but the young people dealing with their parents. I can't tell you how many teens and younger that I've spoken to and given them that critical thinking, some of the critical thinking components, especially ego, and dealing with how are you relating to your parents? What information do you really know about what it is they're going through or what it is they're dealing with in being a parent, right? Because everyone in the house has their own role and no one is walking in the shoes of the other. So we have to be able to be fair-minded in how fair-mindedness is a huge critical thinking concept, right? And so we have to be fair-minded in how we deal with people. So if we're saying to ourselves, you know, oh my gosh, my parents are so hard on me all the time. There should be behind that statement, there should be some information that you're trying to gather in that, you know, why, what's happening? Do you talk to your parents about those types of things? Do you ask those questions, right? Critically thinking it through is asking the questions and not making assumptions.
Yeah.
And so the same thing with parents to children, whether it's adult parents to young children or whether it's older parents to their adult children, whatever it is, we should be trying to ask more questions and gather more information instead of making assumptions and snap judgments.
Yeah. Asking questions has the potential to produce answers that can help us. And as simple as it seems, it's something that a lot of people kind of skip that step and they skip right into the assumption, which then drives behaviors that can be all kinds of distortions and other kinds of ways that people tend to engage with one another. Absolutely. I like this one, too, because I'm an anti-procrastination person. Make decisions you won't regret by tomorrow morning, because some people make snap decisions in the moment and emotionally uninformed and sometimes misinformed, and then met with perhaps some regret the next day. Talk a little bit about that.
I think that the more you're thinking critically, the less mistakes you'll make. I don't think it will stop you from making mistakes, period. And I think that making mistakes are good for us. But I do believe that the more we think things through, especially when we use that one element of thought that has to do with consequence. Right? I think that when we, and not just with like, you know, we were raised being taught to do the right thing. Right. So I'm not talking necessarily about, you know, biblical principle and doing wrong things. I'm talking about just in our everyday steps. There are certain things that if we look at, we go, let me think about what the potential consequences of that might be. Then it could stop us from doing something that we would then regret. So I'll give just a little bit away. So, and I'm getting ready to do a relationship workshop as well that has to do with critical thinking. But if you deal with just even being in or going into a relationship, there's certain things you should be asking yourself. And if you utilize the critical thinking framework, it can help you. So if you just start with purpose, like, Kenny, what's the purpose of a relationship? Right? So if you ask yourself that and you have an answer, so you should know, like, what is my purpose in being in a relationship? So my purpose is usually going to be X, Y, Z, right? If you're getting into the relationship and you don't see these things that are the X, Y, Z part, you know, I want to laugh. I want to be in a relationship where I can, you know, confide in this person. I can trust this person. We respect each other. We can grow together. We can, you know, all these different things. Not anywhere in there did I hear, I want to be crying all the time. I want to be mad all the time. I'm, you know, there's nowhere in there. It's not in that checklist, right? So if you're doing something and you are walking through this phase of going around the wheel and just checking, it will stop you from doing certain things. And you're like, oh, you know what? This does not match up to my critical thinking checklist that I have here. So it can really solve issues for you in that way as well, can clarify and help you map out what you need to do in your next step.
Yeah, you said so many things today that people are grasping onto. And of course, they can go back and look at the live stream on Praise 90.1 FM on YouTube and Facebook. Please do it, folks. Share it. Let people know what's happening in this awesome life skills conversation that we're having right now, because we're really all about improving the quality of life, and everything that Dr. Booker has said this afternoon has done that for me, and I'm sure that it's doing that for you. One more thing here, because I'm watching the time, and this is not a one and done. I'm going to be checking your schedule again in the future to have you come back on and continue this conversation. So this is a real interesting one to me, because for me, this is where, as the old folks used to say, where the rubber meets the road. It's like at that point where something hits and you're like, oh, that's it right there. Understanding why people do what they do, including yourself, because it's real easy to point the finger at other people and blame and deflect. But understanding why you do what you do is probably even more important. Talk to me about that as we get ready to wrap it up.
So, and thank you for this. This has been amazing. Understanding why you do what you do helps you. It gives you a little bit more humility and also a little bit more clarity on understanding why other people might be doing what they're doing. But the biggest part of it is just not making the assumption. Right. So we might say, well, I do this, and because I do this, that means that's why this person is doing it. And that might be completely untrue. Yeah. Right. Completely inaccurate. So we have to be careful. But knowing why we do things, I think that that's a key to helping us just live a much better life. Yep. Yeah. A huge key.
Yeah. I think so, too. I mean, if there's one takeaway that, I hope people have lots of takeaways, but if there's one thing people, since this is on the back end of the conversation, take away, it'd be like, maybe I haven't given enough thought to that. Really having some deeper level of understanding that goes below the surface of my actions. People oftentimes, I think, are on autopilot in life, and they are not taking the time to process what they're doing, why they're doing it, and the outcomes, because there's always the input-output experience as it relates to our lives. And perhaps the way you get a better outcome is that you have a different input. That comes through some kind of personal assessment and evaluation. Absolutely. And that's so vitally important.
Yep. And it's purposeful and intentional as well. It's purposeful and intentional. It's not living life on default, but being purposeful about living a better life.
That's right. That's right. The book is Rethinking Thinking. I tell you, folks, I'm excited about it. I hope you are as well. And of course, we have to give people two things. We have to give them information about where they can perhaps find more about the book, and also how they can find out more about you, stay in touch with you, get connected with you, invite them to their next conference, et cetera, et cetera. How can that happen in this moment of opportunity?
So you can always find me at Ndala.live. That's my website. So Ndala Live, that's my brand. And so Ndala.live is where you can find out all kinds of stuff about me. And then you can find the book on Amazon, of course. And a lot of people are like, how? I'm like, just Rethinking Thinking, Ndala. It pulls it right up. It pulls it right up. So you can find it there. And of course, I'm on all of the social medias, except I am no longer on Twitter, but I am on all the other social medias under Ndala Live as well. So yes.
Fantastic. We'll drop that in the chat box so people can track you and find you and benefit from all of the wisdom that you've garnered over the years and that you're sharing with the world now. Dr. Ndala Booker, she is a wonderful person to connect with, and I'm so honored that she's taken time to be on my program, and even more honored that I get to call her friend. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. It's so good to see you as well, and it really is my honor to be invited to be on the show. Thank you.
You'll be back.
I'll be back. Okay.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Kenny.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Dr. Ndala Booker, what a great way to wrap up the broadcast. I'm going to come back in just a moment and let you know about what's happening on next Sunday. I'm Kenny Anderson. It's Second Chance, and I hope that you're having an amazing afternoon.
Perhaps you have some ideas, comments, or suggestions that you would like to share, or perhaps you'd like to be a guest on the broadcast. We'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to email Kenny Anderson at mxlife@aol.com, or you can like us on the Second Chance Facebook page. That's 2ND Chance. And now, back to more of Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
I've had a great experience today, folks. What an awesome show. I tell you, these folks make my show a pleasure and a joy to come here and do this on Sundays, as we have now for the past 34 and a half years. Robert X. Golphin, my man, award-winning actor and filmmaker, talking about his latest project, Chess Candy, that was a winner at the 14th Annual People's Film Festival, winning the Best Short Film honorable mention. One of his co-stars playing his mother, actress Antoinette Green. Joining us on this afternoon, we thank them both for being a part of our conversation. Dr. Anthony Chornes with us this afternoon, doctor of neuropathy in original medicine, board-certified drug list practitioner, health and wellness coach, consultant, certified life coach, personal wellness development speaker, and so much more. We thank him for being here this afternoon. And then author, Dr. Ndala Booker, the author of Rethinking Thinking, a practical guide for solving real problems from the boardroom to the breakfast table. On next week, we will talk to Paula Akins, and also we'll talk with Carlicia Swan about an event that they recently did at the First SDA Church. It's a women's wellness initiative. And of course, we can't leave out the women as it relates to wellness conversations just because it's Men's Health Month. Disability Resource Network Scholarship Fundraiser. We'll be talking with members of that organization, including Davina Patterson, the executive director, and the primary author and sponsor of the Americans with Disabilities Act, former Representative Tony Coelho. And then we will talk with Curtis Akins about an event that he recently did at the First SDA Church called Boardroom, Belly, and Beyond. A whole thing about wellness and health and how men can be a part of that particular space. We look forward to that at that time. In the meantime, we hope that you have a great rest of the week. Remember, as always, knowledge is better than riches. Have a great afternoon, and we will talk again soon. Have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to Second Chance. We hope that the information that was shared has been a blessing to you and that your life will be enriched as a result of it. We'd love to hear from you. So please send your email comments to Kenneth Anderson at mxlife@aol.com. That's mxlife@aol.com. And check out our Facebook page, 2ND Chance. That's 2ND Chance. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good day.